So, what are our thoughts about Twice Upon a Time? I'm glad I remembered at least the title. Well, when it started, like, what did you think when it began? When it came out with all the beautiful sequences of Hartnell in 10th Planet in 1966, and then beautifully, smoothly morphed.
Yes, no, I love that. Yes.
Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah, well, I like that kind of callback to like classic Who and the fact that they actually used the original footage and then like merged in.
Yeah. It's fine.
Sorry. Yeah, did you like the beginning?
I did. Do you know what? I kind of wish that I hadn't seen it in the trailer, if I'm being entirely honest, because see, when I saw it in the trailer, I was screaming. I was absolutely going, oh my God, this is amazing! And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And it was so gorgeous, so beautifully done, so smoothly. And the way that, again, I mean, you know, after all these years, ever since in The Next Doctor in 2009, I first saw the classic Doctor shown on screen in New Who for the first time, there's been this beautiful journey of the two shows slowly sort of, not the two shows, it's the one show, but the connection between New Who and Classic Who getting slowly firmed up, and it being all the one story, being more and more developed, so that people, you know, newcomers and old fans can all feel like they are participating in that, not this disparate, splintered, big blobby mess. It's this one beautiful story that, as the Doctor says, to be really cheesy for a moment, it starts on Gallifrey and goes to Trenzalore and continues on from there. And it's lovely, all these callbacks and these little things. And I better not lose my point. Where am I going? I'm going with this is that this kind of just feels like ultimate, this is our story, this is the 54 years of this man. There is no question now that it's all that every part of Doctor Who is valued. It's not like, you know, there was Classic Who, but, you know, just we don't talk about that. Exactly. So I felt it was a big ratification for me. Like one final, I mean, the 50th was one, but this feels like the final sort of death nail in any doubt that that Doctor Who not only appreciates its involvement with its history, but also values it. Yeah. And I think that's great.
It's very well put. I think the Moffat era has kind of like strengthened the connection, like you were saying, and you see that with the 50th, like when, and before the 50th, when Clara was going back through the Doctor's timeline and just intersecting at various points with the first Doctor, and then obviously in the 50th we had Tom Baker, although arguably obviously not Spore,
or maybe the Curator,
yeah. And yeah, I think that's, like you say, that's something that's Moffat's built upon throughout the era, so it's good to see that in his final. And I mean, to have it connected to like the first ever Doctor and the first ever regeneration, and to give one his full regeneration with like music and you know,
it's gorgeous.
Proper, I mean, absolutely. They gave him Valley. They did give him Valley. Regeneration.
Do you know, I did not pick that up the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It hit me like a train when I realised that it was Valley, which, for any of you at home that don't know what we're talking about, Valley is the piece of music that was used during David Tennant's last story, The End of Time, leading up to his regeneration. His final the music for his final regeneration, for the moment of regeneration, was Valley de Chem. But the music Valley was the one that just kept being during the premonitions and the little hints. And it's the it's wonderful. It's just and as one stood there on the TARDIS, like leaning on it, you're just like, oh wow, history.
Yeah, and it's nice to, because you know how the TARDIS used to be sort of like a set, just, you know, what's it called? There was no fourth wall, literally.
Yes.
Like it was a studio set. So to actually like go right round one's TARDIS and see it in a like 3D sense.
Yeah, it was lovely, wasn't it?
11.
It's kind of special.
12. And I don't know, I like it that they gave him that regeneration, because not that I dislike the classic Doctor's regenerations necessarily, but they had a very different tone. Like, all of them didn't have the same tone that the New Who Doctor regenerations did.
And this kind of just also further kind of ratifies all the old regenerations, because putting that context in with just like showing his hands glowing with the regeneration energy that is seen in the modern times, and then showing the original regeneration, it just totally makes everything make sense, everything tied together in this beautiful, succinct little web of loveliness.
Yes.
I think it's great. That was really over the top, but you know, I think it's great.
No, I mean, 2 regenerations, 1 episode, and it's nice to even just see a little flash of 2, and it's like,
you're just like,
because I love 2.
It was so good. Well, I mean, we should rush through the middle of the episode and go galloping straight towards the end of it, because we've already been talking for a substantially long time. So the middle of the episode, I thought was kind of fun. The idea of what were they called, the testimony, kind of makes sense. I do like the idea of the Doctor going, I am gonna stop you, and then he hears like, I'm gonna find out what you're all about, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna stop you. And then he hears what they're all about and goes, actually, that's a nice idea, I'm not going to stop you. I quite like that. I think that's quite cute.
Yeah. And I like that they had that storyline for a regeneration episode, because the plot of a regeneration episode is either got to be wholly about the regeneration, or it's just going to be completely eclipsed by the regeneration.
That's true.
The end of time, like, is anyone that bothered about the plot of the end of time? Like, or
no.
Does everyone just
If I ever rewatch the end of time, I don't rewatch the end of time. I rewatch the last 20 minutes.
Yes, me too. Like, because who's bothered about the rest of it?
No, I
cactus people.
I know. I don't want to be the
chef.
cactus people.
I know.
Oh, it drives me mad.
And then they're all the master, but then they're not anymore. And I don't know. But like, everyone just remembers the regeneration. So I like it that they didn't try and do some big complex plot, but they were doing something that was about memories. And if you have all of these memories of a person, are you then representing the essence of that person? And then are you actually that person? End of. Like, are you just your memories? Because that's relevant to regeneration. Because people want to know, is the Doctor the same man the whole time, or the same person the whole time, I should say now?
Yeah.
Or is it like 10 says, I'm dead, and some new man walks away?
When 10 said that, and in the time, it just totally killed me. and just seeing Wilf like being like, oh.
So interestingly, then the episode seems to have come up with a different answer for that than the end of time did, because 10, even to the end, didn't want to go. He saw it as, I'm going to die and some new man's going to walk away. It was represented that way in the episode. Then this episode seems to take more of Bill's point of view. I have Bill's memories, therefore I'm Bill. 13 has 12's memories, therefore she is as much the Doctor as 12 is.
I totally never thought about that stuff in the context of the regeneration. I'm so stupid. Catriona, you've illuminated my mind. It's pretty amazing. Of course, memories and the sum of who we are. But it's him. So when he does still say it in the TARDIS. You know, one more lifetime isn't going to kill anyone, except me. But at the same time, you're right, he's accepting it, and all that stuff about memories and memories being the sum of who we are, that's totally true. It's a little nod of acceptance to regeneration and being different after him. Well, you know, because it's not just, in many ways, it's not just this story. This is this is something he's been struggling with since he was 10. Mm-hmm. This is going right the way from before the end of time, right the way through to twice upon a time.
Yeah. Which is why I think it's so interesting how this episode does call back to the 10th Doctor, because we've got those contrasting answers to the regeneration question, you know, is it still the Doctor, is he feel like he's dying during it and stuff like that. And we had these like little echoes, like the Doctor of War is kind of similar to the Time Lord to Victorious thing that came up. And again, you get a different answer to that because it's just, you know, what he did was save the captain and the German man. who I don't think we got a name or a title
German
for.
man.
German guy. I don't know. And he says maybe that's what it means to be
Toby
a Doctor
Whitehouse
of War.
as a German guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, what it means to be the Doctor of War. It's actually
he's not
about saving people. Okay. In conclusion.
Already.
So,
I was going to mention all the musical callbacks to 10.
Okay, do that quickly.
We had Ballet, but we also had the Doomsday theme. I picked up on that. That's the first time that's been used.
I missed that.
I think that's the first time it's been used since Doomsday. I'm not 100% on that. It might have been used in Series 4 when Rose comes back as well. But yeah,
it was used in Series 4 when Rose came back.
Okay, but we got the Doomsday theme, which is definitely a 10 thing. Anyway, sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. Maybe we should conclude.
Well, we should conclude. We've been a long time. This is never all going to get in to the edit. Well, the regeneration. No, sorry. We're coming on to the regeneration. Barry, you're just going to have to be a beautiful editor. The Christmas Day Armistice at Ypres.
That was a lovely use of that. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really nice. In fact, I've got some things to say about the episode that are not necessarily negative, but about why it maybe isn't as special an episode as I thought it was. But the moment where 1 and 12 stand on the battlefield and they look down and they see the Brigadier's dad and they name him as so, and they say that it's I began to realise when I was watching it that it was the Christmas Day Armistice. That was the main point in the whole episode that got me emotionally more than anything else. It was actually the one moment in the episode where I did tear up a little bit and be like, wow, that's a beautiful moment. And I was surprised that ended up being more emotional for me than the actual regeneration, which I expected to ruin me, because I love 12 and I love regeneration and I love beginnings and ends and I love Doctor Who's approach to change, and I really did expect the regeneration to slay me and leave me a blubbery toddler-like snottering mess, but instead Ypres got me teary and genuinely emotional. And then the regeneration, I found it nice, but it didn't make me cry, it didn't make me tear up. It was just like, that was nice.
I kind of like that it was low-key. I think
low-key,
yeah,
that's definitely right, low-key.
Because I think the whole of the past series actually has been comparatively very low-key. Like, the stakes have still been high, but the tone is just a little bit more calm, perhaps. But I like that. Maybe it's just a question of taste.
You're right.
Personal preference, But I think it was like fitting. Like, I think it was in keeping with what's been happening in the past series and with 12's own kind of character, because I think he has never been as emotionally demonstrative as 10. Or I don't know about 11. I haven't thought about that so much. As I was saying, like, because of the callbacks to 10, that's the comparison that's like fresh in my mind. But I think 12 is kind of like an understated character, somewhat.
Yeah.
Did I say 10 instead of 12?
No, I would say no, 12. Yeah, I would say so. He is kind of an understated character. Particularly as time went on, it started very grumpy and spiky. But as time went on, you got more and more of these lovely little moments where you would see him just being both genuinely caring and passionate, but also still a little guarded. But it was more and more a little bit open, like a gate just opens a little bit more, and there was this softness just coming through until at the end it was beautiful. Him and what I think he called Pertwovian hair, long hair, and his big heart, and it was unlike he was when he started. He was it was like somebody who changed and got a little bit older and just was like, I'm going to open my heart a little bit. And he talked and was honest and was very open-hearted and very different to the Doctor that we met in Deep Breath. Anyway, I'm talking too much.
And do we like the little companion tour at the end where we have Bill and then Clara, the memory of Clara comes back to him? And obviously he's been talking to a Lethbridge student.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've only really learned this phrase properly. I've heard it for my life, but I only really appreciate it now. Sucker punch. Never really appreciated that phrase, but a blogger on YouTube that I've been watching that I've begun to have a lot of respect for. I have a lot of respect for. Is a woman called Seska Says. I think she's called Jessica. She watched Doctor Who, and I was telling you earlier. She does not know what's happening next because she came into Doctor Who knowing nothing about it, and by the time she got interested in it, nobody told her anything about it, and she didn't Google anything about it, and it was so long after the episodes that she was able to be spoiler free. And the people that gave her the episodes would do things like blur out the name of people that were going to be in the episodes. So her reactions are so honest and so pure, and it's great. And where was I going now? What was the phrase that made me think of that?
Sucker punch.
Sucker punch. Oh, I felt so sorry for her at Christmas. I loved watching it, and actually it was a highlight of my Christmas. So I simultaneously felt sorry for her, but I was also thankful for her delivering it to me. She watched Adventure in Space and Time, which is the behind-the-scenes documentary for the 50th anniversary, and she watched the moment when Hartnell was about to do his final shot and hand over the TARDIS to Troughton. And it's just the moment where he turns it on, you hear the click and the hum, and you know that it's going to be a moment. And you hear that hum, and he stands up, and he leans in the TARDIS, and he's looking down. You just see him looking up, and already the way that his eyes track up, you're just like, oh, this is going to hurt. This is going to be like, this is going to be, oh. And he sees him, and he sees Matt, and like, when I first saw that, I burst into tears. It is the most pathetic I've ever been watching Doctor Who of any kind. I've totally sobbed. I will not deny it. And of course, Matt Smith was her favourite Doctor, and she did not know that was coming. Almost even more than I did, because I didn't expect that to come. But no way in a million years would she expect it to come. She didn't even know that David Tennant was going to be the 50th, so she definitely didn't know. And she wailed. She burst into tears, and do you know what? There was someone crying at like the top of their lungs, but it was also just kind of beautiful because she was so happy, and it just that ratification of meaning, because it was 50 years of Doctor Who from Hartnell to Matt Smith. Carried the torch and told a great story to so many people and made so many people happy, and it's kept going all this time. So what he did back then, even though he's long gone, is worthwhile. Anyway, I've talked too much, but I loved that moment, and so Sucker Punch. The Sucker Punch for me was was the Yeeper thing. It got me. Anyway, sorry. So in conclusion. No, but I hate Clara. I really hate Clara. But you know what? Actually, thanks to Seska Says, actually, rewatching all that with her, I've begun to accept Clara as okay. And actually, in that moment, I kind of felt like it was good. And actually, for the Doctor's sake, I enjoyed him remembering Clara. Yeah. And I love seeing. No. Anyway, you should tell us what you think before this is like beyond too long.
What do I think? Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was good for the Doctor to see Clara, even though I was not particularly a fan of Clara either, or the relationship between the Doctor and Clara. I know that, like, in canon, it's an important relationship. You know, it's from the Doctor's perspective. It's an
Weirdly, it is.
It makes sense for them to include it, whether I was personally a fan of it or not. It makes sense for them to wrap that up.
Two Doctors very heavily influenced by one companion. It's a big thing.
Yes. Actually, if we start talking about Clara, we might just go for the next one.
Yeah, I know, because it's kind of horrific to me that the only other person, like Brigadier, was one of the only other companions that was nearly that it was across many Doctors, and Clara is the follow-up to the Brigadier. What? Anyway, well, you're right.
Rose as well, although you don't like her either.
I don't really like Rose very much. You're right. I have a problem with her. But yeah, but I mean, Clara.
Sarah Jane. She's there for the Brigadier.
She's lovely.
Yes.
So.
Okay, that might be about us.
What do you think about Nardole and Bill?
Well, I mean, who gives a f*** about Nardole? and
I thought he had a valid place because I thought he was so invalid when I first started coming on the scene, but he ended up being brilliant. So I was glad he was there.
well, I liked that when Nardo came out onto the scene, he said, "I know what you're thinking. Where is he?" And I'm like, that's a reference to how no one in the fandom gives a shit. But that's mean. No,
but you're right. I know what you mean.
But I mean, I love Bill. I absolutely love Bill. I could have happily had Bill go for like 3 or 4 seasons.
Me
I
too.
probably
She
still
was
love
gorgeous.
her.
I really wish she'd been able to stay. It makes me really bitterly sad, particularly watching the episode that she was gone so soon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But in a way, isn't it good to leave people wanting more rather than like Clara or even Amy, who I loved. I loved Amy, but she did go on forever a wee bit. And I think it's good actually to leave Bill at a point where you still want more. Which I do. And I really think she should come back with 13.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
So the regeneration.
The regeneration.
At the beginning, never give up, never give in. No surrender. You know, I like that callback. I liked what he was saying to the new Doctor. However, there was something about. I mean, everyone I've talked to has said that they had a weird problem with the whole children thing. I understand that it was Peter Capaldi trying to be. He loves Doctor Who. He loves Doctor Who, and he's loved Doctor Who since he was about 3 years old. Mm-hmm. And he feels like this is a good way to express, you know, the connection between, like, you know, a child audience and Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that, but I also feel like it didn't quite work.
The thing is that towards the end of Matt Smith's run, they were going on so much about the name of the Doctor. It was a major part of the Series 7 finale, and then a major part of the actual regeneration episode itself with Matt Smith was what is the name of the Doctor and Doctor Who and all that stuff. And they were even going on. I mean, if I actually track that back to when they started talking about it, they brought it up in the Silence Library and the second one of that, the. Forest of the Dead, because River Song whispered the Doctor's name, which means she knows the Doctor's name, which means it's this mysterious circumstance under which you could know the Doctor's name. And then the silence will fall when the question is asked and the question is Doctor Who. So that started with Series 5. And then, so basically throughout the whole of 11's run, they were talking about the name of the Doctor. And to be honest, when they got to 12, I was quite glad that they kind of stopped talking on about that quite so much. So then to suddenly bring it up again, I was like, they haven't been talking about that. Why bring it up now? I mean, I don't think they have mentioned it since Matt Smith's regeneration, or at least not more than in passing.
No.
Sorry.
Okay, we've been talking for way too long, and whatever you see in this video, it will not be all of what we talked about, because we talked for a very, very long time. I really enjoyed Capaldi's regeneration. I appreciate what Moffat was saying, which is a rare thing. That he was saying that Capaldi's regeneration episode was actually the Doctor's Falls, and that this was a coda, a little side story that ended up being the last story we saw. And actually, in those terms, I can kind of appreciate it, because see, when the Doctor got shot by that Cyberman at the end of the Doctor Falls, and when the tear fell from Bill's face onto him, and the regeneration energy glowed at his scar on his forehead, that made me really emotional in a way that the actual regeneration didn't. So I can appreciate that actually this final story was a little blip in between, kind of like Time Crash, a little moment that was forgotten but remembered in between two moments. And if I think about it in the future, I'm probably going to try and think of the Doctor Falls as Capaldi's regeneration episode, and I might even be a bit odd sometime, and I might try and edit together a version of the Doctor Falls that has just the regeneration from Twice Upon a Time Ka'anta. I expected it to be special for me. It was good, but it wasn't special the same way that 10 and 11's regeneration was. And that's kind of what I think. What's your conclusion?
My conclusion is, gosh, you put that so eloquently, I don't know how to follow it up. I really, really like the Doctor Falls, but I probably did like it more than this one, but to me this one felt like a regeneration episode. I didn't mind the plot taking like somewhat of a back seat Is that what I mean? I don't mind that the plot was kind of not really there. I like that they called back to the 10th Doctor and the Time Lord Victoria stuff and brought up what it means to be a Doctor of War. I like that they brought in Rusty because Rusty came in with the whole question of whether the Doctor is a good man, and I feel like that's been answered now. And I like the idea that they brought back, they brought in Bill and they brought in Clara, and it was like memory is really important, and as long as you have your memories, you're still you. And it made sense, as well, the journey from being the first Doctor, who throughout the episode makes some slightly derogatory comments towards womankind, to being someone who's excited to regenerate into a woman. So yeah, I felt like it was about the development.
Good point.
So I thought it was about the development of the character. I don't mind so much the plot being a wee bit second to that. And as a regeneration episode, I liked it. I kind of don't mind that it wasn't super emotional, because if it was, it would have destroyed me. I mean, I like that it was low key because it suits 12. That's my opinion. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
How long did we talk for?
It's supposed to be for 2 minutes.
How long is it for?
25.
26.